Okay, so moving on, I believe Mr. Maris is here. Is Mr. Wagner and Mr. Garber on? No. Okay, and Mr. Wagamuth is, I know he's definitely not going to be here. And we don't have to need a motion for this, just because it is important these items get voted upon. We're going to go down to, before I turn the meeting over to for the rest of the, we're going to go down to action items 7, or the buildings and grounds action items. I'd like a motion to approve buildings and grounds action items B and C. These are the bid proposals for the electrical work, for the lighting work at LPC, and also for the to repair the HVAC at LPC. And the reason it's being done now is the next board on the 2nd, if my understanding is correct, we have to vote on it. And then at the next board meeting on the 2nd, the board will actually vote on the final contracts for this. And the reason to get it out again is, especially with the HVAC, if we don't get the contracts moving, then the parts and things they need when school's over, because I believe the goal is to start it as soon as the last day of school is. So that'll allow them time to get everything necessary. So when the kids are gone and summer vacation begins, they can start doing whatever they need to do that, so they can get most of it done, or a lot of it done, during the summer. So if I could have a motion to approve those two things, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, I think the motion was unanimous from, I think there's 7 of us here. 6 of us. Okay, so motion carries 6-0. And the next one is, if we go on to number 9, personnel action items. There's a list of things to approve 1 through 6. I don't think they made it to the
Mr. Donato, I request item 5B either be removed from the agenda or voted upon separately for reasons that are not appropriate for a public meeting.
Okay, then we'll do 1 through 6 and we'll skip number 5.
1 through 6 with the exception of
Number
5B.
5, correct. So can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on 1 through 6 other than number 5? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, they carry 6-0. Or now we go on to number 5.
No, 5B as in Bravo.
Okay, thank you.
I have concerns with moving on this item at this time. The reasons for the concerns are appropriate for an executive session. So I would suggest that we simply table that agenda item to the December 2nd meeting.
Okay, I have no problems with that at this point, unless we want to go into an exec session.
And I'll make a motion to table then. I'll make a motion to table item 5B to the December 2nd meeting.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, the motion does not pass. So I guess for that point,
So if it doesn't pass, then it's for clarification, just we're trying to work through.
Okay.
What's 5A and 5C included?
No, just 5B.
No, I know, but
5B.
that wasn't, 5A and 5C was not included in the first motion, correct?
Correct. And my understanding is Mr. Donato's motion, or my motion, was to approve all personnel items with the exception of item 5 Bravo.
okay.
And that passed.
Okay, good. So then we have to vote on, or need a
Okay,
motion for
okay.
5B.
Okay, we need a
Okay,
motion.
and as a point of order, there were 3 board members in favor. And a motion to table is procedural, requires a majority of those present and voting.
which means a tie at this point because there's 6 present.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then I need a motion to approve 5B on the personnel action items.
Wasn't there a motion that we didn't vote on? Did we just vacate that motion?
Didn't pass.
It
Did-
didn't
oh, it
pass.
pass. Okay.
So the motion to table did not receive a majority of those present and voting. So if someone wishes to make a motion to act on it, that would be in order. But I will then be forced to speak against the motion, and I would prefer not to do that.
I'm waiting for motion. If there's no motion, I would be the same thing, I would guess, as there's no motion to pass, there's no motion to,
Or we can adjourn to an exec to discuss personnel.
that may be the best course at this point. Then I vote we go to an exec session for a few minutes. Okay, we're gonna go to an exec session.
How can you join?
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Wagner, you're online now, correct?
I am online. I was online before as well, for the record, but yes, I am online again here now. Good
Okay,
evening.
thank you. Okay, we'll continue on with the meeting and need a motion to approve 5B on the personnel action items, or need a motion, for approval.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
In favor.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries now, I believe, 6-1 with that. And with that, I'll turn the meeting back over to Mr. Keener, I guess you're next because it's.
Well, I believe we have some recognition
We
events.
do.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So as is customary, when we have change with board members, one of the things we like to do is just thank and honor our board members who have shown outstanding service to the school district over their tenure as a school board member. We are very grateful, honored for your service. We are so thankful for the time, dedication, all of the effort, all of the pure passion that you have shown as you've been working hard to make sure that you've been providing the best programming for our students, the best education we can, the best culture we can build here in the district. And so all of you have given your time, energy, and effort. And as we move through with the next formal board transition beginning December 2nd, we have 4 board members who will no longer be serving on the board. But on behalf of the entire district, from the bottom of our hearts, we would like to truly thank Linda, Charles, Richard, and Mike. Where did Mike go? He had to leave.
Doesn't like goodbyes.
Doesn't like goodbyes, but he's getting it on Monday. It has been a pure joy of mine to be able to work with you over these last many years. I have truly appreciated the dedication you've shown, the fierceness in which you've advocated for students and staff, and the willingness to just provide that input, provide that time, energy, and effort to just keep pushing us to do better and be better. And so thank you for all that you have done. And on behalf of the district, we have for you where you leave today. First, your nameplates are yours, but we have an embroidered Hempfield blanket, but more importantly, a Hempfield gold card, which permits you and the guests to come back to all Hempfield events. We know that we will see you. We hope that you continue to come back and join us. And again, just truly from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any of you would like to share anything?
It's just been an honor to serve, and I've served for 16 years, which is a long time. You're my 3rd superintendent, but it's been a great experience, and I like the path we're on. And with the new project, excited to see that move forward, even though I won't be on the board. But it's been an honor to serve, and thank you, and best wishes to the next board.
Last board meeting, I said pretty much everything I wanted to say, but this side of the table, I didn't really say anything about them. And Bill, I did talk about principals, what a great job you guys were doing. And I've learned a lot from you guys, from you ladies, from you women, and thank you very much. Where is Kim here tonight?
She's over there.
Where?
here.
Oh, nobody's in the same spot. So I just really appreciate how you have persevered through thick and thin, through all of the changes, on behalf of our students, our district, and our community. So I just wanted to say that publicly, just as I did for others as well. It's people say they don't like to be recognized. We need to recognize people, students, teachers, people who work for us to make the district great. And thank you, Mike, also. It was a pleasure and an honor to serve on the board under your leadership and direction. And we appreciate it. So thank you. And goodbye.
One thing I do want to be notified on when Dr. Musser gets his haircut. Like, it's been a while.
We can do that.
In addition to the gifts that the district historically provides, it is also customary for the continuing board members to provide some recognition to our departing colleagues. So the 5 of us who will be continuing on the board collectively purchased gift cards to S. Clyde Weaver and made a donation to I believe, the Hempfield Area Food Bank.
The Hempfield Area Food Bank, yeah.
So a donation in all of your names. So just
Thank you.
we debate with each other vigorously, but it's all to keep students first. And it's been an honor to serve with each of you.
And there's also a little figurine of the admin building for you to keep so that you always remember all the good hours you served here with us.
I don't think I'm going to forget.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Mike does not like public goodbyes. So.
And we will also make sure that Mr. Garber gets the recognition as well in those pieces. So we'll certainly follow up with him, given that he was unable to be here tonight. So,
Okay.
so with that,
So,
turn it over to
Grant.
policy. Yep.
Grants.
all right, the personnel agenda will be very quick. We have 4 policies for consideration. These are simply routine reviews, so we can update the review date on them. Our administration is recommending no changes. There does not appear to be anything substantial or controversial in them. If anyone has any questions about any of the policies, we can certainly discuss them. Otherwise, it would be my recommendation that we advance all 4 to second reading on December 2nd. Does anyone have any questions or comments about 825, 901, 902, or 902.1? All right, Mr. Wagner?
No, I am good. Thank you. I did review those, and so I'm okay with moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, without objection, we will advance all 4 policies to second reading on December 2nd. That concludes the personnel part of the meeting. Or the policy, personnel, and legal part of the meeting.
As soon as I can get my mouse on the right spot, we will do education. Dr. Messer, are you taking Dr. Dandridge's place tonight? Is it Kathy?
Presentation tonight.
Okay. Right, great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Tonight, I just have a few course guide changes that we're proposing that would then need to be voted on at the December board meeting. They are simple changes in that either name changes to clarify course sequences or weight changes to better reflect the rigor of the classes. There are no expenses involved with any of these changes. I will say when I first brought them to Dr. Brossman as we were talking about them, I believe he said, you know, we're at a pretty good place when the changes that we need to make are this minor in the system. And so we were pleased with that, but feel like these are some things that will just clean up the way we handle some of our courses. So the first area are the FCS classes. We currently have the courses named as they are under current name, the Preschool Child, Preschool Lab 1, and Preschool Lab 2. And I cannot tell you how many times we are confused. We also have another class called Child Development. And sometimes I feel like we're talking to kids or we're talking to teachers about these classes and we're like, wait, which one is which and what order do they go in and how does this work? So we also wanted to modernize the language. So instead of using the word preschool, most post-secondary programs use early childhood. That phrase is also used in the certifications that relate to the classes that these classes are prepping for. And we thought this would modernize to the way that these are used post-secondary. So we'd like to change them to early childhood education 1, 2, and 3, which makes it very clear what order the classes go in. Again, nothing new with this other than changing the names and a little bit of clarification in the course guide because we will have to be listing them for the next year as previously called such and such to make sure that the right kids are taking the right classes. Similarly, in the music department.
Before you move on, just, you said that those classes will, by the name, will move them towards certification. Do they receive that certificate of certification in the?
No, there's
post-high school.
Nothing in high school that there's certification for in those classes, other than that we offer the Red Cross babysitting certification as an industry credential. But other than that, there's no certification from it. It just makes sense for what their next step would be to call them the same kind of classes that they would get if they were looking at a 2-year or 4-year certification.
Thank you.
So similarly, in the music department, we have introduction to musical theater techniques, and advanced musical theater. And over the years, we've struggled with, does advanced musical theater come before musical theater techniques, or what's the order, or which class is which? And again, we thought this would just clarify the names to make them quite simply reflect what they really are. So we have a musical theater arts 1, a musical theater arts 2, and then really the third level is an internship class that runs and overlays with musical theater arts 1. So the students who take musical theater internship are actually directing the students that are in musical theater arts 1. This is how we've run this class for a long time. We just, again, think that the names better reflect what's actually happening in the classes and make it clear to students and staff.
So I have another question. A year or 2 ago, we dropped the theater, just plain theater. So this is still includes
Correct.
more than just musical
Yes.
theaters, theater arts. as
Absolutely.
well.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, we thought that the name with theater arts better reflected what the class encompassed rather than just the name of musical theater.
And I just jump in. Quick refresher. The need for that change 2 years ago was to align the course with the certifications and the personnel that we have available to us at the high school.
Right.
And so that's, and it really benefits us. The teacher now is Mr. Ramos, who is our spring musical director. So putting it in the music department and under his guidance has really, been great for the program.
Thank you for that report. Yeah, thanks.
So again, there's no cost, staff, anything that's changing in this. Again, just the name changes. The next 2 items are in the math department. And again, this one is just a simple weight change. We have a class that we call pre-calculus college prep. This pre-calculus college prep class feeds into our AP level classes or our honors level classes, and is a very rigorous class. And we feel that it better reflects the rigor of that to make that an honors weighted class. Again, we're not adding a class, there's no change. It is just simply changing the level, because this class feeds into our business calculus class, or into our potentially that they could take the business calc, or now I'm confusing myself. Oh, into like AP statistics or other classes, again, that are at that AP level. So it just didn't make sense to go from a college prep and then jumping up 2 levels. And then this choice, a change, is again just a name change. A couple of years ago, we took our calculus class and called it business calculus, because we were doing it in conjunction with the University of Pittsburgh as a CHS option. And we still want to work with University of Pittsburgh and have the CHS option. But what we think happened, we saw some decrease in enrollment in what used to be just called our calculus class. That was not our AP calculus, but just plain calculus. And we think it was because of adding that word business to it. At the college level, this class is a class that is designed for business majors or people who are not necessarily in math and science fields. However, it also is a great class for our students to take in high school if they're thinking they want to go into STEM majors, but they're not quite ready for that AP level. And so this still gives them that background. And we felt that just removing the word business would better reflect, again, that there's some versatility in who should be taking this class. It is not simply for students who are business majors. In addition to that, we added a new chart into the course guide, or will be, I've been drafting the course guide, that helps to explain the differences of all of these classes and the levels, so that, again, counselors can talk to students about their choices, math teachers can talk to students about their choices. And we just really want to make sure we're getting the right kids in the right classes.
I assume that students see a short description. They don't just see the title.
Absolutely. There are
Right.
descriptions that go with each one of these.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's descriptions, there's meetings with counselors. Our teachers try to guide them to the right thing, but there's a lot of power in a name.
Right.
And getting them to.
makes a big.
The name makes a big difference. And just to help quantify what Kathy was talking about, last year was our first year running the business calculus CHS course. And we had at least 3 sections of that, full sections, like almost 30 kids. And this year, again, we're not entirely sure why, and we're pretty sure it's because people latch on thinking it's for business. We only have 1 section. And that's a big drop to go from almost 90 kids to less than 30. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think what ends up happening is kids take a year that they don't take math. If they don't take this class because they're thinking, I'm going to wait until college to take calculus, but really they should be taking this class to get ready for that next level of calculus in college. And we feel like that might be why we saw some of that decrease. Because they've met their 4 years of math requirements more than likely before they've gotten to this. And so they don't have to take this class, but I'm a little bit concerned about that gap year of math. And that's just changing the name to try to make sure we're catching the right kids in that class.
The only, just thinking of this, just based on what you just said, and this is nicely, the piece around Calc 1 in college and kids taking calculus college in the high school, some colleges may accept, others may not. So it really, I think we just have to be careful and encourage students to look at the schools they're considering, because this change could potentially go the opposite way of kids thinking, oh, I can get out of Calc 1 in college.
Right. And again, the conversation that happens when students are trying to decide once they're in the class, are they even going to take the CHS class option with the teachers, explains exactly what class it is so that they're aware they're not going to pay for a class that they're not going to benefit from. And it's really just about giving kids the right foundation and getting them into the right classes, because colleges will take this class, but it's not going to help toward a major if you happen to be in an engineering or math related major.
How many AP classes do we offer?
You mean AP calculus classes or
No, just
all
in
AP?
general, how many AP classes?
26.
How many?
26.
Okay.
So I'm a little confused, which is not surprising considering you're talking about calculus. So is this the same, the kids that take this, will that prepare them for like the AP test, or is
No,
it just extra?
correct. We have a different class that would prepare kids for the AP test. We have a Calc AB and a Calc BC class that are for 2 different levels of calculus that are for more math and science engineering majors. And this is more applied to specifically into the business field, but gives some other ideas as well. If you are a business major in college, this is the calculus that you would need. But if you are a STEM related course, this would help you prepare for it, but then you would still have to take another college level calculus class. So then you wouldn't
When you
take
get to college.
correct.
Those,
Unless, and it is possible, because you could take this class and then take our Calc AB class. So this class could, which is our AP class, that would be a possibility if a student were like, I'm not quite ready for AP and I want to take this one. They could take this level and then take Calc AB, which we usually have a Calc AB in the spring semester. So they take, Kathy usually has one in the spring and then the other ones are leading into BC. Yeah.
typically the STEM classes that Mrs. Dice is referring to is the AP Calc AB is Calc 1 in college,
Okay,
and then BC is Calc 2
okay.
in college. So that's where the distinction comes in depending on what the major.
And it is the class is a very rigorous class. One of the biggest differences is it doesn't have as much trigonometry in it.
So the kids, you had 90 last year and 30 this year, then where did those other 60 kids what are they doing?
Not taking a math class.
Are they just, I'm done, I'm not going to take any more?
Correct, because they've met their 4 credits for graduation. And so our concern is we'd rather have them not skipping a year of math. Not, if you go that whole year without math and then you go to college and want to take calculus, are you really prepared if you haven't practiced? So we'd rather have them taking this class.
So you're anticipating the enrollment to go up? Don't they have to have 4 years? to
They
graduate of
do, but
math?
because of our block scheduling, a lot of our students are getting more than 4
Skipping.
years of math.
Okay. Okay, just so they understand it. And their parents too. Thank you.
Exactly. And that's really where we rely a lot on our counselors meeting individually and the teachers talking to the kids about the classes.
And I have to commend the counselors. They do a good job.
Absolutely.
I just know from my experience having 6 children go through the Hempfield system, I was going a few years back, but they were very well prepared for college and better prepared than the average people, classmates that they had in college. So I think the AP, the advanced classes, the rigor definitely benefits our kids. And we don't want to lose that. We want to keep that up.
This helps us maintain.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Up to
Before we go on, did anybody else have any questions like I did? No? Okay. It'll change 10 times before your kids get to high school. Thank you.
Right. We up to buildings and grounds?
Yep.
All right. So we have some items for buildings and ground. We're going to start out with the Fields High School project, and Mr. Bremersky is going to provide us an update for the baseball and softball fields. In addition, a brief update will be shared regarding the high school project.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to have to move a little closer, but if Brian, Mike, John, Matty, Dan, if you want to come up as well. I'm just gonna stand over here because I want to be able to point through a few things, just to make this work. Yep. So, yep, you guys want to come up to the table, make it easier, because after this, we'll jump into the high school. Just update, just for some things that KCBA and Dave have been working on. Jeremy, if you can go to the next slide. So as you know, our baseball fields and softball fields work needs to be accomplished in work because of where the high school, with new addition of the high school will be built. Projected start date for the baseball field was early November, and the projected start date for the softball field was in the summer of 26. Next slide. The board approved the phase 1, accepted phase 2, just knowing the work that needs to be accomplished. However, since then, and if you look at where the field is to be, even though we did the groundbreaking, you see nothing has been done with the baseball field. That's because as the teams have been working on the storm water management plan for the entire high school project, there's some changes that are being recommended that I'll get to shortly. And part of that does impact the planning because, as you know, the first phase of the baseball field, we were only permitted to do work within 1 acre of that entire scope of project. So Jeremy, if you can go to the next slide. So just so you can see, the 1 acre is this color green. So basically it kind of wraps behind home plate out down first base. It's along the outside of the infield there and back down. That is the 1 acre of work that was going to be accomplished. However, as I shared from the stormwater piece, if you can go to the next phase. Phase 2, when things around the bleachers, we've got the dugouts, the fencing, which would come along the outfield, the new scoreboard, etc. You also see these light green areas. That is, or what was originally projected as the only additional work that would need to be done in the grass that's currently on the outfield when you look at it from a field standpoint. So that was very minimal. However, if we go to the next slide, due to the stormwater piece, so here's the high school project, and as was shared in the previous meeting, there are 2, basically the western and eastern watersheds, and we talked about the need of anything in the bluish purple color. That would need to be stormwater management system that is under the ground or the blocks system that we were looking at. The green areas were those more rain garden approaches where lined with thick plastic, water would go in, there would be plants there, grass there that would be in a sense living within that water, and then it would just slowly absorb into the ground. However, when we look at from the baseball field standpoint, and you look at these two pieces, all of the water from these areas are being displaced and it gets down through here, right where to the right of that parking lot, comes down and all the way down here and comes out. So it's passing along the outer edge of the baseball field. Go to the next slide. As a result of this, everything in yellow, as a result of that, is now what Hummer, the team that's working on the baseball fields, believes they need to do in order to have a solid baseball field, because home plate will have the highest elevation and everything then slowly goes the opposite way out towards here. In addition to that, because of all the stormwater and work that needs to be done around here, this black line that's here is a drainage pipe that needs to be installed so that water can empty into the stormwater area. In addition, because of the height in the sense of the left field, you see this dark line here. That is a small retaining wall that needs to be built to lift the field up to have the better slope. And so the yellow part with all the work that needs to be done, they are now recommending that we seed all of that. And if some board members recall, we heard through some conversation that there was a potential need to have 2 growing seasons for that to occur. In our meeting the other day, James, please correct me if I'm wrong as I say this, Hummer has shared with us that as long as the seed is in by August, they have no concerns with that grass seed being fully ready to go by November. And they will take care of all of the seeding, the fertilizing, the water, and then making sure that it is all intact. They have done this before in other places. I talked with them about the need of, we have no other place for our baseball team to go should this occur. And I said, what is that guarantee going to look like? And their words were, it is Hummer's guarantee that we'll be able to do this. So they need to go back to the drawing board with regards to outlining the scope of the project. And if you go to the next slide, please. Part of that revised scope, and I reminded them of the budget for both the baseball and softball field, that we are not looking to exceed that budget. So they are working to revise those costs, and the goal is to remain in budget. As I get more information from them, I'm hoping to get it within the next week and a half. We will send it out to the board at that time. As long as everything is on track and based on what they're recommending, we will bring it back to the board to discuss it at the December 16th Building and Grounds meeting, as well as seek approval. So you board members will have all that information up front, but we don't want to delay the process. And as a result of this, I have to go to the next slide. Because of all the additional planning and working to make sure, they are suggesting that it does not make sense to skin this part of the grass area out now, because if they do that and do that part of the work, all of the dirt that they take out of there, which they're going to use to bring up the elevation of this part of left field, will sit in a pile through the winter. And it doesn't make the most sense to do that when it can stay on the grass currently, and then they can take it off when they need it early spring or late spring, early summer. So they expect the work to be starting late spring, early summer, and the same for the softball field.
I think Hummer, if I remember correctly, used to do the Penn State field.
They do.
They still do?
Well, I mean, they did, but
Okay.
they do a lot of fields from a turf management standpoint. What they talked about in terms of the elevation, because our concern all along was we talked about the need for drainage within the infield. That's been a concern with our baseball and softball fields. And as a result of that, they don't put drainage systems under the Dynatex. What they talked about is making sure that it's truly laser leveled, having an ongoing maintenance plan and looking at that on a yearly or bi-yearly basis. And part of the challenge of when you look at the slope of the water, it's to sheen off and go into the outfield. But most likely when fields are dragged, it creates kind of a lip between the infield and the outfield. And that's what holds the water back and creates the puddles. So they are going to work to ensure that it is a nice, beautiful slope in the correct way, and making sure that they can then stand by their work so that we don't have significant drainage issues moving forward. What they shared with us is if they go back to the original project and the scope, that would be an acceptable field, but it's going to have issues and concerns, and people are going to be expressing concern over the unevenness of the outfield, given the slopes in different areas. So they are recommending that we seriously look at doing it correctly from the start. So they will bring everything back to us, and then I will be sharing it with you. Other questions?
I do have a question. It's gonna cost the same,
That is the goal.
the goal, and then the field will be usable by for the upcoming,
That is what they are saying, yes.
okay.
And we will have
Oh.
significant conversations and invite them to the meeting on December 16th to be able to talk about that.
And if I recall correctly, with the current field, it hadn't been dug up yet. We've had all kinds of problems with the outfield and holes and,
There were
Things
some,
like that.
some of the infield in which we worked to
Yeah.
add more Dynatex to do some of that laser
Mhm.
leveling. But even just going by it today, you can see the lip that occurred. Now the
Mhm.
season is over.
Sure.
So that would need to be done and prepared to ensure that we have that proper slope if it was on our current
Mhm.
field. But as we look to have a new field, we want to make sure it's done correctly. The other part of that is we've discussed the water hookups for both the baseball and softball field. Hummer is recommending kind of outlining where they would have those
Mhm.
valves be from a watering standpoint, and ensuring that we can water not only the outfield, but also the infield, particularly on the baseball, but also on the softball to be able to water down the Dynatex.
Are those locations different than the people that were originally designing field?
Mrs. James, the locations are still similar. They're just recommending the additional valves to be connected into the fields, correct?
Or on their original drawing, there were no valves. There would just be the hookup at the kind of at the corner, the outer right field corner. Now they're suggesting, because everything's going to be dug up already, they're suggesting that we put these valves in so that we don't have to have as long of runs with the water wheels and so forth.
So it's going to make it simpler to water the
Yes,
fields.
yes.
I like the idea of doing it right the first time.
And
Yeah,
I just
very
wanted
much.
to make sure I understood your question, Mrs. Johnson. The next, the baseball season of 2026 will be on the existing field.
Well, I just wanted to make sure there was a field
Yes.
where they could play.
Yeah, it
And we
won't be
didn't have
until
to
the
go
following
somewhere else
season.
and to play ball.
Yeah, it
That
won't be
was-
until the following season of 2027 that they'll use the new field.
Okay, yeah, but
Okay.
yeah.
They'll
like
use the existing field.
With some of the problems we've had with the field, it's nice to hear they're going to be done now correctly and smoothly. So our kids don't fall down and hurt themselves.
I assume our
Yeah.
athletic director is in the loop.
He
with
was
all
in
the-
on that meeting. That is correct, as was Dr. Brosman.
Thank you.
Mrs. James, Mr. Ross.
So the KCBA next?
Any other questions on the baseball, softball fields?
I think you answered it just by what you were saying about the additional valves, but my question was, do any of these changes that are being proposed have any ongoing effects, like in future years, as far as your staffing, as far as maintenance and things like that? But I think I heard with these additional valves, it'll make your watering and all of that easier. Is there anything else that will change?
It will certainly make watering easier. And if you recall, at one point, we did talk about having a water wheel for both the softball and the baseball field so that we do have adequate time to water both of those fields. So that will also make things easier and to be able to water. When you start watering, you have to continue that watering process. So that will allow us to be able to do that.
You also mentioned routine maintenance of the field. Is that another contract that has to be renewed ever so often, or?
So we do renew contracts with them for spring and fall maintenance of our fields. But that's all the athletic fields and so forth. But we're going to work with them to determine what things we can do in-house once the field is completed and what things that they will have to do.
And that's already included in our current budget, and it will be included in future budgets?
What we're doing right now is included in the current budget, but we'll have that, once that's
be new
determined,
contracts.
right, exactly.
Right, thank you.
Okay, so I don't I have something else, but KCBA is going to give us an
Yep,
update.
so the other piece we wanted to just bring is just an update. We had shared with you that we would be having Davey and KCBA here to talk about budget estimates for the high school project. However, through meetings we've had over the last several weeks, more work still needs to be done, but they are here to talk through the work that is occurring, things that they can talk to you about in terms of some of those questions the board members had regarding the structural, some of the stormwater pieces, and what is the work that they're actually doing to get to that cost from a budget standpoint. So, Ryan, you go.
Yeah, I'll kick it
Go
off.
for it.
So we've been extremely busy working on the new Hempfield High School project and extremely proud to be doing so. At the end of October, we presented both the district and Fidavia with the design development documentation set. So that's the second step in the design documentation series. So we had schematic design, design development. That was what was just turned in, and we're moving into construction documents now. So with that second set of design phases, we press pause. We turn over the documentation to Fidavia and work with them to make sure that we're both on the same understanding of the scope of the project, what's been put into the actual documents, the actual blueprints that contractors will eventually bid. So that work is the work on KCBA side. As it's turned over to Fidavia, we're in hourly conversations going back and forth to make sure that we're on the same page as we look at the cost estimate and make sure that we're looking at the same scope of work in addition to the intent of the drawings. Obviously, each phase as you go through the process, that gets more narrowed down and more detailed. But at this point in the process, there's enough information there for Fidavia to take and provide an accurate price. So we're still working through that process. That's what we're here to tell you tonight. So it'll be a little bit longer before we can give you that final document design development estimate. But know that we are working towards that.
And internally, we've done the same thing. We were provided large 30 by 30 sheets.
30 by 42
30 by 42,
full-size drawings.
of each section and kind of looking at it. So we've been going through it as well and providing those questions and, this doesn't seem right, or look at this. And all of that is also contributing to the work that they're doing to be able to get to Fidavia as well. So, John?
Yeah, I would concur. I mean, I feel like Ryan and Mason are almost like coworkers. We are doing the regular team meetings every other day, comparing notes, going through stuff, comparing what we have, looking at, re-sifting through all the value engineering ideas that have gone around. So it's very much a work in progress. And we want to get it right. We don't want to bring something and then have to change it. So we want to get it right. I did want to touch on, in addition to the ongoing design, as some of you know, we've encountered some unforeseens and we've been struggling through those as well. It was determined that the soil bearing wasn't quite what it needed to be. So their structural team came up with a new foundation plan and we've worked through that. They also determined that Buchanan, without Franklin there, Buchanan was not built to withstand that wind shear. So there's been a lot of structural design work done to shore certain areas of Buchanan up. We got that priced up. And then the big struggle, which Mr. Vermersky alluded to, is ELA has a whole team working on stormwater. As you saw that one slide where there's different colors all over, those are all different types of stormwater basins, and the engineers are still working through how deep they have to be, the overall volume, and do we need them in all those areas, or can we do with some less? And that is a huge potential spread depending on what they come up with. Like that could impact the budget severely or not too bad. So again, we don't want to jump the gun until they're done. Hugh believes his team will be done with all their calculations and their design by the end of the month. And then we'll have something we can
End of this month.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for the end of this month. It's going to coincide with so that they can submit their land development. And then we'll need our team will need a week or so to digest that and price it up, you know, to do the volume takeoffs for the bases. And then by that point, our goal is then to be able to put the whole package together.
And that'll be the basis. The next step will be bids.
Yeah, well, it's gonna.
Well, we got to get some approvals.
Yeah, well, we had to update the estimate overall. So we, you know, we'll have that done by early December. When we have the rest of this information and we can combine it all.
And that will be the basis of the bids for the ultimate high school. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how long will that take after we go out for bids? How long is that process?
So right now we're planning for construction documents. So that last series of design drawings to be completed at the end of February to then put the project out for bid in March. And right now we're looking at a 4 to 6 week bid period, which then we would come back to the board for that approval of bids.
I believe we're still, the project that we have put together started June or May, June.
Correct. Yeah, construction would start
That was
Around in
June 1st.
Is what I was told.
Yeah.
And we're still on target for the January Act 34 hearing. All of those pieces are still moving, so work's still being done there. The challenge at this point is just the need to continue to go back and forth to make sure those initial design documents are the way they should be, and every room that needs to be addressed, whether it's a renovation, whether it's new, that both, you know, well, actually all three of us, that there's consistency with the understanding of what's there before we can actually have the final piece of costing it out. So I'm told from the team that this is part of the process, and that, to Ms. Johnson's point, we should not rush this. You want to do it right. And so while we were hopeful to have that, it's better to wait and get the right information, make sure we're all looking at the same blueprints and have that same understanding before we proceed with anything else. So we are on a pause as they're working through the finalizing of the design and the cost, but we are still moving with the other things so that we don't lose time in terms of what's expected over the next several months.
Who will issue the bid documents? Is that KCBA? Is that Fidavia? How's that going to work?
It'll be in conjunction.
Both together?
Right.
My understanding is it's critical we get that right, so we don't get some bidders coming in there lowballing that maybe aren't so good at bidders because we didn't get the specs and stuff right.
And minimize change orders in the future
Right.
when possible.
Right.
Yeah, but every design committee meeting, we're discussing bid strategy, how to bid it, who we're advertising to, how we're advertising it. So it's at the forefront of the entire team's mind.
Because for public school projects, we have to take the lowest bid, correct?
Correct.
So we got to make sure those details are very good, so we don't get the wrong bidders.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the right way to say it, but at the end of the day, we don't want to get somebody in there that's gonna mess up this project and have a lot of change orders and cause Mr. Bremersky to lose a lot of hair.
I will say, I mean, your points are valid. I will say that because of the size and scope of this project, like fly-by-nighters aren't going to be able to get bonds. So, you know, we should have qualified bidders.
And I think between Fidavia and KCBA, you guys know the bidders out there, and there's some understanding, some knowledge that'll be helpful for us.
Absolutely. And one other point of note, at the December meeting, we would anticipate, so ahead of the Act 34 meeting, we have to present the book and the numbers in the book that pertain to the maximum building expenditure that the state allows for the building to be built. It only regulates new construction, so it only regulates the addition piece. And then the other number for approval will be the total project cost. Again, the total project cost is not a number that you're held to, and the Act 34 maximum building construction standard is a number that is a snapshot in time. So again, we're trying to make sure that that design development estimate is that snapshot in time that we're utilizing for those numbers. But that will be before the board for approval to then advertise for the Act 34 hearing in January at the December meeting.
Okay. Then does the board again approve after all the bids have come?
Absolutely. So yeah,
That's when the real.
you're not spending any money that night. You're just saying, this is the maximum
But after the
amount.
bids come in March, then that'll be the final approval for the
Correct.
board to move forward with the project.
Correct.
The only two board actions that are upcoming are advertising the Act 34 hearing, as Ryan said, that's next month. And then approving the bids. That's, April, Mayish. So those are really the only two required board actions between now and having a shovel in the ground.
Okay. Any questions for
I have to say,
Yeah, Megan? You're the ones that are still going to be on. You got any questions?
I do not right now. Thank you.
I didn't hear what you said.
I do not have any questions right now. Thank you.
I just want to, I remember as we were going through who was, and looking at who we were going to hire. And I'm looking at new board members and I'm thinking, you have no idea what's ahead for you. You think you do, but it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And I think not only have you guys, firms have displayed professionalism, been very kind and understanding as we ask dumb questions like me. And that I really appreciate that. And you, so far you're living up to your reputation and expectations. And I just want to leave that I really appreciate that. And I think you guys are going to do a good job in tandem with each other in partnership. And I just want to say I appreciate that very much.
I think we've left you with the two good firms in KCBA and Fidavia. We're in a good spot. We're going to do the right things. And I think you'll appreciate them as you get to know them, as well as Mr. Bromersky and Mrs. Hall and Mrs. James. I do have to compliment Mr. Bromersky. The last presentation you did remote, which was a difficult presentation, and you did a fantastic job. So I did want to commend you on that. So I said, I thought Mr. Bromersky was going to be here because it was an overall update of the whole project, if you guys remember last month. And I thought Mr. Bromersky was going to be here. And I said, what do you mean he's doing it remote? And you did an excellent job. So I'm sure after this project's done, you'll be able to maybe get a PhD in high school construction. But Mr. Bromersky is soaking it in and learning a lot, has been a great superintendent for this project.
We all are. It's a great team effort. That's for sure. Great team effort.
I was thinking that when you were presenting, I was like, wow, have you come a long way? And what you've learned, like you almost passed for a civil engineer talking about stormwater.
He's learning a lot.
Yeah.
He's learning a lot. So, but anyways, so any other questions for Fidavia and KCBA? Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we do have a couple more building and ground updates. Mrs. James is going to review the bid results for trash and recycling.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for your vote this evening on the LPC project to begin next summer. I appreciate that vote being done this evening because that way we can continue with the construction part of it and ordering and items and so forth. So I appreciate that. The first thing I have here is the RFP for the trash and recycling. Our current trash and recycling company, that contract is due to end on December 31st, 2025. So I put out an RFP for another 3-year contract. The contract right now is also a 3-year contract. So put out an RFP for a new 3-year contract. And these, what you're looking at here are the results of that 3-year or of that RFP. The contractor, Republic Services, is the low bidder. And my suggestion for you is to move forward with them for the next 3-year contract. This contract will be up for the December 2nd meeting. For the bid process will be up for the December 2nd meeting for a vote, and then we'll work on the contract part of that as well. Just an FYI for you, Republic Services is our current contractor, so there will be no need for removal and adding new receptacles or anything like that. So it will just remain status quo in as far as what we're doing now. All of the pickups and so forth will remain as they are right now.
Will the construction and everything, are they well aware of our building projects and things, since it is a 3-year contract?
Yes, yes, and I've already had conversations prior to doing the RFP. I've had conversations about how the high school project is going to, what changes we're gonna need to make as far as that's concerned. So,
But they will not be necessarily removing debris from the project. That'll be incurred by the project, but they
Correct.
may have some transportation issues is what you're talking about.
yeah, we're probably gonna have to move some of where the existing dumpsters are, because
Right.
right now they're gonna be in what's gonna be part of the fenced in area. So we'll have to move some dumpsters around, so we still have receptacles to put the trash and recycling.
Quite a big difference between the 3 bids.
Significant. Is the difference because we're already using them and all of the dumpsters are on site? Or-
I can't speak for them and
I mean,
their
just
their
seems
costs. I can say that they are a very large company, and I mean, I'm sure that probably has contributing factor in it. They are a very large company. So I feel that because of the number of pickups on a weekly basis, that would be very difficult for most companies. They just don't have enough fleet to handle.
Okay, any questions for Ms. James? All right, and the last item is the East P water heater quotes.
Yes.
Mr. James also going to present that.
Yes. So if you recall, at the last Buildings and Grounds meeting, I had talked to you about an issue we were having with the water heater at East Petersburg Elementary School. It is leaking. So I had talked to you about, we were going to get quotes for that. All 3 of these companies submitted quotes for the replacement. Well, let me back up. First of all, I went through it with more engineering, and they developed specs they evaluated everything, developed specs that would handle our needs that we have. If you recall, I had mentioned to you that the existing water heater that was in the building from when it was built is oversized for that building and really not suited for how the water is used. So that was all determined by more engineering. And they came up with specs, and they requested quotes from companies to replace these water heaters. We got 3 quotes. All of these companies that have submitted quotes are CoStar vendors. So the Garden Spot Mechanical, it came in as the lowest bidder. So on the December 2nd meeting, you will vote that will be listed on there as a voting item for you to vote. I'm suggesting that you go with the Garden Spot Mechanical. That would be the suitable candidate for that.
Do we know much about them?
We've worked with them in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. it's
That's
been-
probably that's we've used quite a bit.
Correct, yeah. We've worked with them in the past. We have, it's been a few years since they've submitted anything, but we have worked with them in the past.
Okay. All right. Any questions on this?
Just one quick question. I might have missed it if you said it. This was for using the two tanks then?
Correct. They'll replace that one oversized tank with 2 smaller tanks. And that will enable our district plumber who to handle those things. Right now, he is not capable because of the size of it. He's not capable of servicing it. We don't have the equipment. So he would have to, any service that it would need, we would have to sub that out. When we have these smaller units, once it's out of the warranty period, then he will be able to service those units.
Okay. More questions for Mrs. James? All right, so we'll move into our finance committee meeting. Mr. Wolgemuth could not be here, so I agreed to conduct this meeting. And I think the main thing is Mrs. Hall is going to give us an update. We finally have a budget.
Do.
So go ahead, Mrs. Hall.
Just waiting for Mr. Paul to. Awesome. So last Wednesday, the state finally approved a budget. It's November. Good news is it is slightly better than we anticipated. Overall for the state, Basic ed funding was up 105 million, a little higher than the governor's initial proposal. Special ed funding 40 million. Ready to Learn, which is the block grant, which includes the adequacy funds that we've received, was up 565 million, which we very much benefited from, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. And there is 100 million in safety grants available and 125 in the facilities grants, which we were a recipient of 1.5 million in the last round. So we will absolutely be filing for that again. So in terms of how it affects Hempfield, our basic ed funding was up 230,000, special ed 132, and we received an additional 680,000 in adequacy funding. So our overall additional funding from the state was a little over $1 million. I do want to point out one thing with the Ready to Learn block grant as we get into the 26-27 budget. If the district accepts the adequacy funding, which I recommend, we cannot file for exceptions to the Act 1 index. So we must pass the opt-out resolution saying we will not exceed the index. So I just want to throw that out there now that I will be bringing the opt-out resolution forward in January. I recommend we do this. There's no guarantee that you would get the exceptions, and it's a lot of money to walk away from. So I just want to throw that out there. That is part of the requirements with accepting that. Next slide. As I talked about, there's some grant funding available, school and safety and security. Some of it is competitive, some is non-competitive. I don't know the exact amount that we will receive in the non-competitive grant yet. And then, as I mentioned, there's another round of school improvement grants through DCED where we were a recipient of 1.5 million that we will absolutely apply for again for one of our many projects in our capital projects plan. So, and the other piece, as you know, maybe heard that they did not pass a flat funding for cyber charter. What they did was add some cost avoidance measures. I don't want to call them savings because we don't know exactly how that's going to work yet. It does allow us to deduct certain expenses when we're coming up with our charter school rates. We have to go and do the calculation to see how that benefits us. There have been numbers floating around based upon old ADMs that I would not count on. Everyone in the state said those numbers aren't real. They're just estimates of what it could be. So we really need to see what our enrollment is today and what the rates are to see if we are going to have any savings. It's a step in the right direction, but it's.
So what
not
does this mean?
before.
When you say cost of, what are those 60, what does that mean?
So these are certain things that you can deduct when so we have to do what's called a
We can
PD
deduct.
when we're doing our 363. So every district has to put forth
Okay,
this form that determines your cyber charter rate. So this allows us to reduce that sum. It
so our
doesn't,
cyber charter rates may go down a little.
yeah, it doesn't mean that our enrollment will go down. Like these are things that we don't know.
Understood.
Right, but it's a cost avoidance measure, so it will help. And then they also added some stricter rules for cyber charters regarding how they count attendance and when cameras have to be on and all of that, which should help us potentially reduce the numbers that we have.
So do we have any idea total dollars?
We don't yet. We're gonna have to
You
take
don't
a
have a
look at
gut
that.
feel or-
No,
Okay,
I don't want to guess that because we have to go back and redo.
it's gonna be some money.
So potentially,
Okay,
I'm not.
maybe. Question mark.
Question mark.
All right.
The big focus on the cyber charter reform. People are struggling, myself included, to understand why a flat rate would not have passed. That said, there is improvement with regards to the accountability for students in cyber charter programming, as long as the accountability measures are there to enforce it. But when you look at what's here in terms of what we can deduct, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort that Mrs. Hall, Mrs. Marchese, the business office team are going to have to dig in. No, it is not simple. We're waiting on the kind of the defined guidance as to what, when you talk about student activities, what can go into that, what can't go into that. You know, so for example, there was I don't know, is it adequacy funds? There was something that within some of the line items that cannot count as deductions. So those are things that we're going to have to dig into, and they'll be able to report back. But I think it's still incumbent upon all school districts in Pennsylvania to keep pushing for the cyber reform that needs to happen. I know at the state level, there's a lot of conversation around trying to regroup and figure out what that means and what does that look like next for the next go around. But I know I heard through budget meetings that I participated in. I'm sure Mrs. Hall heard the same thing. while this budget season was very difficult, they're expecting the next one to be even harder. So it is something that we will need to think about through our budgeting practice and what we do over the next several months before our final budget's approved in June. Basically, you can kind of expect something like this or later, is what we're hearing at this point. So we'll see.
Thank you in advance for the time and energy you're going to be putting into that to benefit Hempfield.
So it's pretty vague right now. There's no handbook or anything.
Not yet.
All right. Any questions for Mrs. Hall? All right, the only other item is some contracts we're not approving, just for review. Josh Funk, contract for virtual author visit at Farmdale Elementary. Orthopedic Associates of Lancaster, addendum to athletic training services. And ProCare Therapy, occupational therapy supplemental services, effective December 12th this year through May 29th of next year. And I believe we handled the personnel action items and the buildings and grounds. Upcoming meetings, December 11th will be education programs and policy personnel. December 16th will be buildings and grounds finance. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.